Welcome to the annual meeting of the Show Me Green Schools Partner Network. This is exciting because we only meet once a year, and we have a lot going on in this agenda today. But before we do anything with our agenda, I wanted to just take a quick moment and thank all of the funding supporters that are helping Show Me Green Schools make the moves that we're making. We could not do this without all of these folks, and we are super grateful to the momentum that they have helped us build. Um, Dollars are super important to being able to do this work, as is people power. So I want to thank these folks for their financial support, and I want to thank all of you for being here, giving of your time, because I know how tight it is, and I've heard from a lot of folks that couldn't be on this meeting. So if you're watching the recording, thank you so much for participating. And yeah, I'm really excited about our conversation today. So today, basically, our theme is environmental literacy, and we'll go into that in some detail. So I won't hit you too hard with that yet. But basically, our goals for today are to gather feedback on a proposed project to advance environmental literacy statewide. We want to inspire you inspire you with stories of two school and partner collaborations that are really unique and exciting. And I want this to be as interactive as possible. So there'll be moments for you to come off screen and share kind of popcorn style, and we'll definitely be doing some other interactive things. And please use the chat. We will definitely be combing through that after the meeting for nuggets. So yes, please use the chat. But what I want to think about and ground us as you all come in here, and welcome to those who are just joining. Welcome. Um, our theme today is environmental literacy. And NAAEE, the North American Association for Environmental Education, defines an environmental literate person as someone who, both individually and together with others, makes informed decisions concerning the environment. They're willing to act on these decisions to improve the well-being of other individuals, societies, and the global environment, and participates in civic life. So I would like to, with your help, I would like for some reflections on that environmental literacy definition. If you can use this QR code or go to menti.com, 85282326 code, put that in. And there's a word cloud. So I would just like to know, what stuck out to you in that definition, or what resonates with you in that definition of environmental literacy. Those of you that are just joining, I know I just let in a couple more people. Welcome. And we are just getting started by grounding ourselves in the definition of what an environmentally literate person is. Um, and the screen that you see is you can join this word cloud and share what resonates with you in the definition, which is an environmentally literate person is someone who, both individually and together with others, makes informed decisions concerning the environment, is willing to act on those decisions to improve the well-being of other individuals, societies, and the global environment, and participates in civic life. So we're going to take about 1 more minute on that. Oop. It's so cool, y'all. Informed decisions. It looks like well-being is at the top too. Just depends on if you put the dash in between well and being. That would have been a lot bigger. So those and acts, those are our, really big ones together. I love it. Thank you. So just a little, I know we've had a few people come in, so I want to just, back us up. And remind everybody that today we have three goals. One is to gather some feedback on a proposal for an environmental literacy project. We're going to ground in environmental literacy throughout the time together. We've got some inspiring stories we'll be sharing really soon, and we want to be as interactive as possible. So we've got some elements coming in and out of traditional presentation mode a few times. So, but our theme is environmental literacy, and we want to ground in kind of our, that exercise was really to kind of ground in our connection to nature, and think about what brings each of us to like this partner network and to this meeting. And to start, though, we want to just also ground in we're the Green Schools Partner Network, right? So what in the heck are green schools? And when Deborah Rogers Curtis gets here, she is the manager of green schools at Missouri Gateway Green Building Council. She will take the baton from me. We're both moms. I'm at the end of my mom timeline here with an at-home child, and she's in the early days. So an emergency came up, so she will be here as soon as she can. But I'm going to try do my best to take her portion of the presentation. And we're also joined today by Emily Andrews, who is the director of the Missouri Gateway Green Building Council, and together, MEEA and the Green Building Council co-manage our suite of programs. And all three of our programs are built on the same three pillars of a green school: lowering our environmental impact and costs, improving health and wellness, and increasing sustainability literacy. And that third pillar, it's got a lot of different monikers: sustainability literacy or environmental literacy are often, interchangeable. So just it's one of our pillars, our theme for today. And we wanted to just kind of call out that there's so many different things and varied ways that schools dig into all of those pillars, and they're not going to, put as much energy into every single thing on this list. But there's so many different things that schools can work on. And hopefully you see just after listening to that definition of environmental literacy, like the ability to make informed decisions, to take action, that well-being is a part of it. That you'll see how all of these things fit into that definition as well. So the first program that we have that we want to just give you some highlights from the last year since we last met. The Green Schools Quest is our kind of entry level dip your toe in the water program. Schools get paired up with a mentor, and there's one person at the school who helps a group of students along with that mentor, helps the kids lead a sustainability project over the course of 6 months. And it can run the gamut from anything from, food production, food composting, solid waste management, energy efficiency, doing, something that's integrated with the curriculum of a particular classroom, lots and lots of things. Our schools are really creative. And last year we had 80 schools participating. Our theme was biodiversity and wellness. And you can see on this slide here, the projects were quite varied, from research projects to revamping outdoor learning spaces, diving into data, thinking about energy efficiency, carbon use, or carbon emissions, sorry. Lots and lots of different things. 75% of our schools completed their project, submitted a final project for the judges, which is about on par for past years too. And just kind of a benchmark thinking about where we are in terms of expanding from St. Louis City and County, where this program originated. We are up to 15% of our schools are from outside that geographic area. So we've got some good momentum there, but lots of room for making this truly a statewide participatory endeavor. This year, our theme is water, and the mentor sign-up deadline is August 31st. That's a great way for partner network members and others to support this green schools writ large. it's a heavy lift to pair mentors with each school. So we are anticipating another 80 schools this year. So we need 80 mentors again. Um, Deborah has a ton of resources, has a mentor info session recorded on YouTube. So we'll probably send those out with this recording as well. Mentor deadline is August 31st. September 15th is the school deadline. And feel free to put questions, comments in the chat, or come off mute. So the second program that we have is Missouri Green Schools, and that's kind of a bridge between that entry-level Quest program and then the national award. Right now, we are in the middle of our annual review, and we will announce our honorees next year. But Missouri Green, or this October, sorry. And it looks like Deborah's here. Yay! But we will be announcing honorees for 2025 this fall in October. And Deborah, are you here?
Yes, hello. So sorry I'm late.
No worries. I'm glad you're here. I did go ahead and start on your presentation, so I don't know if you want to take the reins here.
Sure, give me a heads up on where you are on this slide.
So, yeah, I just clicked on this one. I just explained that we are getting ready to make our announcement for this year's honoree, but you might want to talk a little bit about last year's honorees.
Yeah, we're incredibly excited because this program just continues to expand, and it really is growing every single year. We now have 47 schools that are active Missouri Green Schools participants. We've got about four in the pipeline right now who are about to be oriented into the program. So each month, basically, there's a new interested party, and the word is spreading, which is incredibly exciting. And even more exciting is that we're seeing schools go through the process and they're leveling up, meaning they're taking on more and more sustainability initiatives each year. And many of them are pretty in depth. There are some pretty amazing initiatives that they're taking on. And so as they move through the levels, they need to take on the tracking and reduction of waste, energy, and water, both in just understanding how much they're using and then coming up with strategies how to reduce. And so as they move up through these levels, they're really showing their commitment to school sustainability initiatives. Our One Flowering Dogwood School is also one of our Green Ribbon Award winners, and they have now taken on the mentorship of younger Missouri Green Schools. And so that's been very impactful to see schools that are willing to work with one another, even well outside of their district or even their geographic zone. Just, in that true educator collaborative spirit is just really incredible to watch and very inspiring. So we're very excited about the Missouri Green Schools honorees. You can go to the next one. So, as I mentioned, our Green Ribbon schools, we are incredibly proud of. Obviously, I have a lot of personal stake in the game because I was the principal of a Green Ribbon school several years ago. So, I know firsthand just how important and impactful this award is. The Green Ribbon Award was under the U.S. Department of Education for a very long time, and it's a one-time national recognition of sustainability initiatives. But recently, with the changes at the federal level, the award has gone into much more of a nonprofit space and really is being housed within the Center for Green Schools. And so we're excited that this award is not disappearing. We know that there's a large commitment the throughout the entire country, but really we are one of 7 states that are pushing for this award to continue. And then we have about 6 other states that are kind of figuring out what they want to do with this award. And so at the state level, we really have to take on ownership of what we want this award to look like and what we also want to make sure we can hand right back to the U.S. Department of Education when they inevitably take it back. This year, for our 2025 nominees and winners, there were 22 national nonprofits who came on to basically a several month process of determining how do we honor these schools and how do we make sure that they are still recognized as the 2025 winners. And all three of our schools were recognized as winners, which is really exciting. And we had a very diverse set of schools that won this year. Leslie, can you go to the next slide really quickly?
Yeah.
So these schools are very different. Two are from St. Louis, and one is in the Springfield, Missouri area. But they're all just a representative of three very different communities. Bridgeway Elementary in the Pattonville School District is one of the most diverse elementary schools in the entire state. I believe it's the second most diverse school. They have an enormous population of students who do not speak English as their first language, but also they have racial and socioeconomic diversity as well. And they really represent a vast difference of a spectrum of students, which is really, really special. Forsyth School, just down the road from Forest Park, was recently impacted deeply by the tornadoes, but their school community is so strong that they have been able to recover and are opening in the fall with no problem, which we're very excited about. And Forsyth is our flowering dogwood school that I mentioned earlier. They've been with us for a long time, and they've been sustainability partners for a very, very long time. And they have a dedicated staff that has really pushed sustainability initiatives, but they also have people who are willing to put this bake it into the curriculum and the culture of the school. Sustainability is actually part of their mission statement, which is really special. And then John Thomas School of Discovery is a school in Nixa, Missouri, which is just outside of Springfield. And they are both a blend of suburban and rural areas. So they have students who come to them from all over the place that really represent quite a wide variety of student experiences. And they focused a lot on waste reduction this year, and they also focused on producing their own vegetables, as you see in this photo. They produced a lot of their own, they composted a lot of their own, and they tried to make their school full circle. It was really an incredible thing. So we're very proud of all three of our nominees, and we're also really excited that they were officially recognized as the 2025 winners.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Deborah.
Yes,
Um,
thank you. Sorry, everybody. I'm really excited to see all of you here.
no problem. I am just struggling with my Zoom display here, and so I cannot see you all without making it cover the screen at the moment. So if you have a question, Deborah is there to answer it in the chat. And feel free if you want to stop me mid-sentence, you're going to have to come off mute because I don't have the brain power to look at the chat and maintain my focus. So just so you know, I'm so glad Deborah's here so she can answer all your questions in the chat. Um, so next, we're gonna kind of dive into the partner network piece, a little bit of kind of where have we been over the last year and beyond, just kind of get us ready to think about, oh, cool, we have all this momentum with our schools. We have this partner network, which was added, the last piece of the puzzle to be added. So where can we go from here? So I wanted to give you a little bit of grounding in just the Show Me Green Schools timeline. And so on the left of your screen, you'll see the green bubbles and text are about the program as a whole. And on the right, the blue is kind of some history relevant to the partner network. So in 2013 is when Missouri Gateway Green Building Council started the Green Schools Quest. They were the impetus behind that program. And then at the national level, the Green Ribbon School Award began around the same time. So a couple years prior to that, MEEA and a lot of people in this group and beyond were involved in developing a Missouri environmental literacy plan. It was developed, drafted, never implemented fully. So that's kind of just a little bit of background. And so right before Green Ribbon and Green Schools Quest began, that happened. And then right around the same time that Green Schools Quest and Green Ribbon became a thing, MEEA facilitated the convening of the Missouri Environmental Literacy Advisory Board between 2013 and 2019. That group came together for several years and worked on different elements of that environmental literacy plan. Um, Part of that was, thinking about a bridge program between the Green Schools Quest and the Green Ribbon. But just a little, the environmental literacy plan kind of led to this MEELAB board right around the time that the some of the Green Schools programming was started. In 2019, MEEA and MGGBC, Green Building Council, we received a multi-year $300,000 grant from Missouri Foundation for Health to build out Missouri Green Schools, which is our bridge program between the Starter Quest and the national recognition of Green Ribbon. So that during that time, we decided, you know what, we need this partner network to develop. We met for that final time in 2019 as Me Lab and decided, let's pause this board that gets together twice a year and let's really focus on Missouri Green Schools at the time, that bridge program, and how can we develop a network of partners to support that program and its adoption throughout the state. So that group was paused, and we spent 2 years really thinking about this partner network. Meanwhile, um, we started we brought together the first convening of the partner network in 2022 and then launched this Show Me Green Schools umbrella, which brought together Missouri Green Schools, which was, put together through that Missouri Foundation for Health grant. And then it was merged under the umbrella of Show Me Green Schools so that it was comprehensive with a program, the Quest and the National Green Ribbon Award. So all of these things were kind of happening in tandem. And then just last year, the Green Schools, the Conservation Federation of Missouri, which is an advocacy group for conservation, adopted a resolution for increased green school support at the state level that was drafted and edited by this group, by the partner network. So any questions there, just thinking about where we've been, since 2011, in terms of this journey towards environmental literacy across the state. And this is a great time for you all to put some ideas in the chat or come off mute and share with the group just some of your thoughts.
That just was a great fit that really launched it forward.
Well, the Missouri Foundation for Health grant was a massive game changer. That was a big key one. I think, we're going to talk a lot about the Missouri Environmental Literacy Plan. That was a biggie. That this is a foundation that we can build on. And I think, and Emily and Deborah, you all should weigh in here too. Putting the three programs under the umbrella of Show Me Green Schools has really made it such a more cohesive message we're able to provide, and it's really upgraded our ability to meet schools where they're at because we have one message. We're trying to help you achieve across three pillars of a green school, and we have three programs. If you're like John Thomas School of Discovery, and you haven't needed our help to become an exemplar at the national level, we still want you on our team because heck yeah, we want you to mentor other schools, right? And we want you to be an example that inspires other schools. So it doesn't matter if you're starting at the very beginning with your first Quest project, and it's a tiny project, or if you're a school like John Thomas who, did it with tons of partners, but not us, right? So having an umbrella, I think, has been big.
Yeah, I can chime in from the participant side because when I was a principal, I was involved in these programs. And it made a lot of sense when they were all together because it was like a natural progression. You can start with the quest, dip your toe in the water, kind of, I don't know anything about sustainability, but my kids love to garden, and then all of a sudden it snowballs into let's join Missouri Green Schools, let's move on, keep moving up a level. And it was really helpful to kind of see it as, it's a starting point, and then each level gets more and more support. And it's just been it was really helpful until we went all the way up to the national award. So as a participant, I found the umbrella organization to be just extraordinarily clarifying and also very clear on what you should be doing next.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Feel free to keep putting information in the chat. I know we have so much to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and get to our next presentation. Before we get back to thinking, nuts and bolts about an environmental literacy plan that I'll propose, I just wanted to kind of ground us in two cool projects that I learned about this year. One of the best things about my job is that I get to meet new people who are wonderful and doing very amazing work in the space of environmental literacy. So we have today Vayu Gokhale from Dark Sky, Missouri, talking about their partnership with Wohlwend Elementary, and then St. Louis Zoo. We have here today to talk about their partnership with Hazelwood Central High School, and what they've been doing with what they call the Greenhouse Project. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Emily, first to talk about the Greenhouse Project at the zoo.
Sure. Thank you. Hi, my name's Emily Garrett. I'm the Wild Care Park educator here with the St. Louis Zoo. For those unfamiliar, the St. Louis Zoo is opening up a safari park in North County, St. Louis, opening up in 2027. And part of that is we wanted to integrate into the community as much as possible and get into the schools. And so while the St. Louis Zoo always had a partnership with the Hazelwood School District before this year, it was very like field trips, one-offs here and there, very curated programs, and then, 45 minutes and then coming back. But that kind of changed this year for two big reasons. One reason was the Hazelwood Central High School decided to go with a real world Friday schedule. So their schedule is normal classes Monday through Thursday, and then Friday is all guest speakers, project-based learning experiences the entire day, and they kind of can pick their passion projects. And then on top of that is the zoo has been working really hard. The zoo education department has been working really hard in making more of a co-design experience for our programming. Because we, especially out here in Wild Care Park, we were very much like we want the people who we want at the programs, we want them to make and create the programs so that they're more aligned with their interest. And so when the idea was brought up at a meeting between Zoo and the Hazelwood administration, when the idea came up of they wanted a greenhouse on campus, it really was just that statement, and everyone kind of ran with it because it just was a perfect alignment of where we all were. So that meant from the start, the students were considered experts in their school community and their peers. They got to decide where everything went. They decided where the greenhouse should go on their property, what they wanted to grow, how they wanted it to get set up, and who they wanted to work with. And then my role was I went in almost every Friday, worked with these students and kind of set the guardrails. So like making sure we stayed within the budget that the school gave us, and then helping them connect to experts. And what was really awesome about this project is we worked with so many people and so many partners to make this even possible. Just in the zoo alone, we kind of joked that the zoo's its own little city. So we had people from the horticulture department come, the audience research. I didn't know high school students could get so excited about surveys, but they were like all in. They wanted to make surveys about everything, and that was really cool to see. Um, we also brought in other people from education. They got to talk to the nutrition department and animal care people to get to know like how zoo operations works. And then plus they got to meet all these people from the Hazelwood facilities, the director of maintenance. They ran a focus group with school administrators so they could make sure they were meeting the needs that their administrators were thinking the school needed. Um, and then a bunch of external ones, such as the Missouri Botanical Gardens, University of Missouri St. Louis, and Audubon Center. So we had just so many people working with us. And probably most of these connections, a lot of these connections happen just through like talking about the project. And for example, we were working with all these different departments to see like where maybe they could help us with it. And we were talking with the food service department, and they didn't have the capacity, but they're like, oh, you need to talk to this one guy. His name's Tyrene Lewis. He provides the zoo lettuce that we get from, and his farm ended up being 5 minutes from the school. And so he ended up being a huge partner with us because we could just take a bus 5 minutes and be on a fully production farm with a greenhouse to see how it would function. So that was really awesome. But that whole process helped the kids learn beyond just like a greenhouse, but it's okay to not know something, and it's okay. You just have to figure out who to ask. And kind of in connection with this, I should mention that I was hired with the zoo 3 months before this project got started. I have no background in greenhouses, no background in plants. So it kind of led to this natural curiosity of like, well, if I have this question, it's likely they have this question. But there was also a lot of students who, for their jobs, worked on Tyrene's farm. So they actually became the experts in a lot of the plants that we were talking about growing in the greenhouse. So it was kind of a cool flip model of learning from each other that happened. And then at the end of the year, so through all these field trips, they very end of the year that Leslie got to go to was the students put on a proposal or shared a proposal for their stakeholders in the school boardroom, talking to a bunch of administrators, a bunch of people from the zoo of like what they decided to do with their greenhouse and with the school's budget. And what they decided on, which was pretty cool, was they wanted to include, they found out that Wildcare Park only wants to grow native plants. So they want it to be the starters for those native plants so that then could be transported to Wildcare Park, but also kind of split them that the other half could be used on their campus to beautify their campus. They also wanted to grow some food for animal enrichment that for the animals that are here at Wildcare Park. They did learn very, very quickly how much food the zoo actually goes through in a day, and that they would not be able to produce that much food for even one animal. But if we use it for enrichment, or for even like giraffe feedings that we plan to have in the future, it's really that hands-on aspect to that where they're growing the food for those animals. And then something else that stuck with them that they're going to include in their greenhouse is they want to have an aquaponics system within it with our partners with UMSL and their aquaponics research. We want to have a completely closed loop greenhouse while we're also supporting a sustainable fish population that then UMSL can come in with grad students and do a whole research with it along with the high school students. So it's kind of becoming this like whole community situation. And we are in the planning stages of continuing this partnership for next year.
We've got 2 minutes left.
Okay, thanks. So the greenhouse will be being built slowly but surely, and the students will be helping make all the decisions in that construction stage in this next year moving forward.
That's awesome.
So are there any questions?
We've got a couple minutes for questions, so please don't be shy. I noticed, I thought it was so cool, the different departments and organizations, just how many partnerships really bring something like this to life. And also, it was just kind of a cool story about shifting from that sage on the stage idea to kind of
Hmm.
guide on the side, which is a new way of talking about education.
And I think I also have to mention too, like because there are so many partnerships, like in this quick spiel, it sounds like everything was sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't. There was mistakes made, there was issues made on all sides. But just making sure that when we started, we're like, we're in this and kind of give each other grace and room and flexibility, I think was really key to making sure it worked the way it did too.
Yeah, about one more minute for questions for Emily if anybody wants to come off mute.
So I was going to ask, because you talked about the college students getting involved in some of the programs, but so the age breadth or the span that was involved in this, like from elementary all the way up through university, or just where?
No, so this was specifically with high school students.
High
We did
school.
ninth through 11th grade because we knew it was going to be a multi-year project and we wanted them to grow with it. We are hoping to expand it, so we'll have like a ninth, 10th grade intro to the greenhouse class, and then 11th, 12th grade working in the greenhouse is kind of how we're dividing it.
Any thoughts of post high school graduates of capturing those and keeping them, in the loop, in the wheelhouse, so to speak, as they go on to do whatever it is they do?
Yeah, I think we definitely want to do that. I think that's where we're going to really work with our UMSL partner to see how we can continue that connection after they graduate.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. I
Thank
really
you.
love this project and I hope that it succeeds again next year and keeps building momentum. It's great. So feel free to keep asking questions or in the chat. But now I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about an elementary school collaboration, and Vayu Gokhale, who's coming in from Kirksville, is going to tell us a little bit about that.
Thanks, Leslie. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about a project that Dark Sky has been involved with a school in the St. Louis area. But since Dark Skies might be a little new to some of you, or you haven't thought of it in terms of being part of the Green Schools Partner Network, how it connects to the environment, I want to give you some background first, and then I'll talk a little bit about some of the specifics related to the project that we did last year. Quick word about some of our partners. So Dark Sky is already collaborating with lots of kind of, Missouri National Naturalists, various bird-related organizations, MOPSI, Missouri River Bird Observatory, and so on. And then we are working on campuses as well. That bottom right logo is Campus Shine, which is actually a nationwide project we have started, not Dark Sky, but the American Astronomical Society. So lots of overlap between what you traditionally consider environmental issues related to, largely speaking, biology, human health, birds, pollinators, that sort of thing, wilderness in general, and then also astronomy and campuses and cities and urban planning, that sort of thing. So the gamut of this is quite wide and vast. And so the first thing I want to emphasize, just to kind of seed these ideas into your head, is that we should start considering natural nighttime conditions as a natural resource, and that needs to be valued, and that needs to be preserved and recovered where we have lost it. There are several reasons for that. Again, that can be a separate talk in itself, but I just want to seed the idea. And here's just a couple of pictures from my own campus at Truman State. And I don't know how clearly you can see the video, but the static picture shows you a lot of bugs here. This is stadium lights. And it's just annoying when we do this in the backyard and whatnot. But these bugs should really be out in the garden, out in the wilderness, pollinating, doing their thing, rather than be buzzing around our lights. Again, lights are necessary at night. We know all that, but these ideas are kind of hiding in plain sight. We need to bring them up to the forefront. Similarly, most organisms on our planet, at least the ones living on the surface of the planet, have adapted to this day-night cycle. And so we all know about migratory birds. Most birds migrate at night. Here's a heat map from a couple of months ago showing the United States, and on the right here. And on the left is just the path that monarch butterflies follow. And notice, for example, it's more evident over here is it's passing right through Missouri. And again, a lot of this migration, both the monarchs as well as birds, kind of tends to follow where water is. So along the coasts, for example, or along, say, the Mississippi River, or relatively close to the Mississippi River and the Missouri River. And that's where humans live as well, and that's where most of our lighting is as well. So all these things overlap. And so again, we have to develop a appreciation for natural nighttime conditions. There are lots of interesting phenomena. So apart from all the transactional nature of saving lives and saving the environment and saving money and all that, there's just natural beauty to be experienced. That sense of wonder that our students should definitely be have the option of experiencing, and that's slowly going away. So that's kind of the backdrop, if you will, as to why we think that investing time, effort, and energy into educating our students about this is important. And we have to start early because, again, we all know this. If you've never experienced something, it is unlikely you're going to value it. It's unlikely you're going to fight for it. It's unlikely you're going to take a stand in favor of it or whatever. So it again, just kind of a lot of text here, but basically showing that this scope of this is quite wide. And if you look at where this overlaps with various things you are already involved in, I would say the overlap is significant. So you don't have to start this as a project in itself. You can embed elements of preserving natural conditions at nighttime into existing programs that you're already involved in. So for example, the greenhouse project that was just talked about. Greenhouses are great, but many times they're also illuminated at night to continue growing, to enhance or accelerate the growing of whatever it is you're growing in the greenhouse. Now, how is that lighting done? How is it done in a responsible way? There are advantages of doing that. One could argue both ways, but is it impacting the neighboring communities in terms of how that lighting is done? Is that light leaking out from the greenhouse when you could manage it a little bit better? Just to give you an example based on what we just heard. So here's again kind of emphasizing some of the points that I just made. I went through all the 7 kind of show me environmental literacy standards that I found on the Green Schools webpage, and I can easily see how we can embed some of the things that are related to some of the issues that I just mentioned into any of those, or at least most of those, quite naturally without having to stretch your thinking or whatever too much. And again, the topics range over a wide swath of things from astronomy, urban planning, engineering, lighting, physics, and down to biology and zoology and botany of living beings and that sort of. Okay, so there are 4 or 5 points that I want you to, again, just kind of see these ideas in your head, and then I'll quickly move on to what we've done with Wohlwend. ALAN is artificial light at night. It impacts all living beings in all sorts of ways. I've listed them there in red. All of you are involved. This is about environment. One of the things that I like to emphasize is the tension between efficiency and overconsumption. And one could argue, is our problem that our fuel that we use is efficiency the issue, or is that we just tend to overconsume anything? And how do you kind of balance that? And dark sky is a good good lighting, responsible lighting is a good way to emphasize that point. What are the hidden costs of these so-called efficient fuels and efficient lighting? And then compare light pollution with other forms of light pollution, and of course the cultural aspects of just stargazing, just the beauty of it, and all the traditions, all the lore that goes with it. So here's an example that we've done at Wohlwend, which is in the St. Louis area in Oakville. funding for this project came from CFM, from the Risberg grant. And one of the things I want to emphasize, because I'm going to run out of time at some point, is
In
that
3 minutes.
okay, well, we want more collaborations. We want to continue our collaboration with Wohlwend, but we also want to have other schools collaborate. And again, this doesn't have to be a thing in itself, but it can be embedded into whatever other programs you're doing. Specifically, we have these objectives. We want to quantify the level of darkness at night. There are instruments that can do that. Use cameras and nighttime cameras and audio mods to inventory the wildlife in and around the school, or if you have an access to a wilderness area. So if you have a state park nearby or even a city park nearby, you can set up cameras there with appropriate permission and then present the results. That's what the students did, and then create signage to disseminate their results. And these were some of the outcomes. They learned how to frame scientific questions, then how to figure out how to answer those questions by collecting and organizing and analyzing those data. And then they are working towards developing an inventory of wildlife they find in their location, communicate. So, it's one thing to do science, it's another thing to then communicate to the rest of the community, and then hopefully try and get some action related to that in terms of fixing the lighting or whatever it is in this case. Now, we didn't accomplish all of this, but these are the goals, and we just started. We have done in kind of the first year, and hopefully we'll get better at doing some of these things as we go along. Here are some pictures as I run out of time, and then I'll just shut up and invite questions. Uh, Please feel to type the questions into the chat so we can move on with the rest of the agenda, and I'll answer the questions on the chat once I'm done here. Here are some pictures they took and signage they made and things like that. The cameras installed behind their school. The school is lucky in a sense. They have a nice wilderness area right next to the school, which then butts into the river. So it was great. And these are just a few pictures. There are several such signs that they made, and they were displayed in the school and displayed at various events that they had and those sorts of things. Here's an example of an audio moth. It's a little device. Here's a camera that takes pictures like these. And the audio moth recognizes what sounds you hear at night, some of which we are not even audible to our human ear, but you can get that. All these are relatively inexpensive instruments, and we can work on grant money to get some of these. So I'll conclude by this. I have a couple of other slides, but I'm not going to worry. Is that by definition, half of the earth is experiencing nighttime. Half of our lives are spent during nighttime or evening twilight conditions. And we tend to ignore it. It's hiding in plain sight, if you will. And we need to develop appreciation for that in our students. And the earlier we start, the better, because again, if they have never experienced it, they're not going to value it. We need to take away that sense of fear that they have, and in fact, turn it around if we can. And the best way to do it is to start them early. Last thing I will say, I'll have this slide. I'll send these to Leslie so you can look at the slides later. But we'll be at the MEEA conference in October. So if you guys want to pursue this, of course, we can do it over email, which is on the bottom right here, and I'll put it into the chat. But we have an opportunity to meet and discuss this further in October. I'll conclude with that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Vayu. I wish we had so much more time to talk with both you and Emily about these projects in detail. So I really do invite you, if you're inspired by something specific and thinking about acting on it, get in touch with them. And I do know darkskymissouri.org is a really fun rabbit hole to go down, and it's a lot better than doom scrolling. So there are great presentations. Yeah. So I will be happy to share that out. Thank you, Vayu, and feel free to talk with him in the chat. But I'm going to share.
I will quickly add, I should have done this earlier, but Jean Knock is on the call right here, and she
Yes.
actually did most of the work. I'm just here to take the glory, if you will. But honestly, it was
He's good at slides. He's good at slides.
I'm good I'm supposedly good at speaking. So all credit to Jean and Elizabeth Leaker, who's our contact at Wohlwend, who couldn't be on this talk, otherwise she would be doing this talk. But she is going to be at the conference in October. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vayu. We have about a half hour left. And can everybody see my screen with what we're hoping to do for the last half hour?
Yep, you're good, Leslie.
Okay, great. Because I cannot figure out how to see everybody's faces when I'm talking, and I'm gonna roll with it. So, yeah, so we're gonna go through this little list here in as quick as we can. One of the first things I wanted to just share with folks, we have about 62 members in the partner network. It's probably time to clean that up a little bit and cull some folks. I know one organization seems to have disappeared, which is sad, but this is, taken from the enrollment form in the Show Me Green Schools Partner Network and also some of our foundational, when we were developing the network, what folks wanted to see. One of the things that came out at the very beginning was people were just like, we just want to see continued forward movement. We're tired of joining things that start and stop. So I just want to give all of us a pat on the back for really building a lot of momentum over the last several years since this has been a thing, the partner network. But 72% of our partner network members, one of the most important outcomes to them, either important or very important, is to work directly with more schools. 68% want more collaboration amongst each other. They want to expand their professional development network and um, get data and insights to inform strategy. All of that I feel like has been happening, and we're ripe to really, really help kind of facilitate more cross collaboration this coming year. People want to know more about the landscape of what are people providing in terms of environmental literacy supports. Um, and we've been working on that with a landscape analysis we did of environmental education across the state, and that wrapped up last year as well. About a third of our partner network members say that increased funding opportunities would be um, a great outcome for them, an important outcome for them. So just know that this project that I'm going to be highlighting in a little bit actually touches on all of these things. I want to make sure before we before I kind of outline the proposal, I want you to hear from our board chair who couldn't be on the call today, Amity Freiman. They put together a really nice video. You get a little bit of nature therapy while you watch this video. So I'm just going to start play in just a second, and just know that environmental literacy and an ELP plan will be a big part of this.
Hello, my
Can you
name
hear
is
that?
Amity Freiman, and I'm the 2025 Board President of the Missouri Environmental Education Association. Throughout my decade in environmental education, I have watched as students are able to crystallize wonder and joy into deep knowledge of place, and passion for the land and communities that supports all of us. It is the spark that keeps me going, and I want to thank you all today for your own roles in creating the environmentally literate students of today and the environmentally literate leaders of tomorrow. NAAWE defines someone who is environmentally literate as possessing the following: knowledge and understanding of a wide range of environmental concepts, problems, and issues, a set of cognitive and affective dispositions, a set of cognitive skills and abilities, the appropriate behavioral strategies to apply such knowledge and understanding in order to make sound and effective decisions in a range of environmental contexts. An Environmental Literacy Plan, or ELP, is a statewide plan to support school systems in expanding and improving EE. These plans are state-specific and designed to address specific challenges and tap into specific benefits which may be unique to that state. The frameworks for ELPs can vary wildly as a result, but NAAWE defines an ELP as minimally containing the following: 1. Specific content standards, content areas, and courses or subjects where instruction will take place. 2. A description of how high school graduation requirements will ensure that graduates are environmentally literate. 3. A description of programs for professional development of teachers to improve their environmental content knowledge, skill in teaching about environmental issues, and field-based pedagogical skills. 4. A description of how the state agency will measure the environmental literacy of students. 5. A description of how the state education agency will implement the plan, including securing funding and other necessary support. As mentioned, these plans will necessarily vary by state. However, NAAE has also identified 4 factors which are universally key to the success of any ELP. The first is to plan not only for K through 12, but to extend to learners of all ages. Early childhood institutions, community educators, and public spaces are key for the long-term health of any ELP. The next point, essentially, boils down to patience. The implementation of an ELP will be a long-term effort, and to do it well requires decades of meaningful collaboration, experiential learning, and ongoing community engagement. Speaking of community engagement, NAAE also highlights the importance of relationship building. Strong partnerships between governmental bodies, nonprofit organizations, businesses, schools, and statewide EE associations are highlighted as necessary for the success of an ELP. Finally, NAAE reminds us that it is key to build support from the bottom up. Grassroots support is as essential as that of key leadership, and having a wide-reaching, resilient network of partners may be even more essential than having the support of key decision-makers for the long-term success of these programs. This is where you come in. All 4 of these keys can be fulfilled by collaboration within the partner network. We are gathered here as a resilient, wide-reaching network, one which can continue to grow stronger and more diverse, can continue to educate and inspire, and can continue to lay the groundwork for Missouri to be a national leader in green schools. Thank you for your time, and I'll toss it back to Leslie for more information.
Great. I really liked it. But I want to find out, I'm curious, when you were listening to that, what emotions did that bring up for you all? So if you want to go to this QR code, we're going to do one more word cloud. I promise it's the last one. What emotions did that bring up for you? And I will give everybody a moment to grab that link or QR code, and then I will share the word cloud. Can everybody see that? Remember, I can't see you, so let me know if you can see this or not.
Yes, we can see it.
Great. Well, I feel that I'm similar to a lot of you because hope is probably the biggest feeling it brought me to, was just thinking we are ripe for this. So thank you all for participating in that. Inspiring, thinking about the future, big thinking, proud, inspired, continuity, long term. Yeah, all those things. So that's what we're going to be talking about now. I will share my screen again. Go back to the Zoom slides. Thank you for bearing with me today. All right. So now what I want to talk with you all about is what could an ELP look like in Missouri? What can this group do? So I want to think about some resources that are available to us. So the next few slides are going to be really breaking down some of those some of the resources available to us. And this one and the next slide are about existing environmental literacy plans. I mentioned at the beginning about the Missouri Environmental Literacy Plan from 2011. It was created by a really great group with stakeholders representing DESE, our Department of Education, other state agencies like MDC, DNR, the Conservation Federation of Missouri, universities, school district, nonprofit organizations. Great group put together a really comprehensive plan that just needs some updating, I think. It's got four detailed goals with objectives and strategies, really, really broken out. And I looked through those, and we've made so much progress already with having our Show Me Green Schools programs in place to really support schools in adopting this work, formally or not formally. The Plains Environmental Education Partnership Survey helped identify barriers and opportunities in schools. MEEA has a new EE courses and credentials program that is active, and it's a pathway and we're creating more courses all the time for EE certification. And we've even begun some work on Missouri-based lessons and curricula. I know Mia's been doing that, and I know of some um, other organizations like Missouri State Parks. They have an online um, lesson portal as well. And there's so many. So I can see some of our work being to help really reduce some of the overwhelm for teachers when they're navigating resources and how to find high quality ones that meet what they're looking for. But anyway, we have a lot to build from that Missouri ELP from 2011. And I'm curious if anybody in this room today was at that, was part of the development of that. If so, please put it in the chat. That would be really awesome. Some other existing ELPs that I think we could really draw from. Oregon has one that they actually have, they had legislation and appropriated funding behind their ELP implementation. So that's a really cool model. They're a similar political landscape to us. So like probably some success lessons and also maybe some pitfalls to avoid that we could learn by talking with them and looking at their resource. They have a very detailed implementation timeline that is super helpful. It's really cool to see that some of the things that were farther out in their timeline, 2 or 3, 4 years out in their timeline, we've already got going because we have Show Me Green Schools and we have this network. Delaware is also a really cool one. I like a lot in Delaware is that they emphasize families and communities as much as schools. I think maybe you recall from Amity's video that that's a big key to success is really being holistic, and especially in times of tumultuous economics. It's a good thing to spread our vision and then think about how can we bolster environmental literacy no matter what's happening to the education budgets and things like that. And then finally, NAAEE is a tremendous resource for us. They've been tracking the progress of state ALPs over the last decade and a half. So they're just a great resource for us to learn from and also find out more about what's happening across the nation. So yeah, existing ELPs, that's a resource. Another resource available to us, and please get your typing fingers ready. I have a chat prompt for you that's going to be really fun to look at after this. If I have programs that are missing from this list was my state level programs that focus in some way on environmental literacy. So trying to narrow it down. If I missed a state level program, please let me know. And then I know all of you are involved with regional and local programs that foster environmental literacy. All of our partner network members are that, lead some of those programs. So put those in the chat. But I just want to call out, we've got MDC's Discover Nature Schools curriculum is fantastic. We are so excited when our schools participate in that. Mo Healthy Schools is a program out of DESE that really has a lot of the same outcomes as Show Me Green schools, but they work at the district level and they start with health, whereas we've got the three pillars that include health, but green is in our name. But Mo Healthy schools, their schools all get to green as well, because we know that green and healthy go hand in hand. Wet, Wild, and Learning Tree are, national, called the projects. It's professional development and curriculum for environmental education. That's a national set of resources and really well respected. And we're really happy that that's active again in the state of Missouri. We've got Farm to School Missouri, the Scouts, what a great opportunity. Scouts have, Leave No Trace workshops, and that's something that our public needs to understand better is leaving no trace. And it would be so cool to see them talk with Dark Sky Missouri. How can we think about leaving no trace, up and down? 4-H and Extension, lots there. FFA. So many of our schools in rural areas are involved in either 4-H or FFA. I mentioned our MEEA's professional development courses. Our solid waste management districts are invested in environmental literacy, and they've supported this work. Missouri State Parks, gosh, stewardship and interpretation is a big part of their mission. And then there's several youth-focused initiatives for the state. MEEA has a new group of members called Young Environmental Leaders. Conservation Federation of Missouri has a Conservation Leadership Corps. So those are two statewide organizations with youth-focused initiatives. And I know of tons of regional Green Corps and other, jobs and green career projects throughout the state. So there's just a lot of folks that we can bring on to work together to really think about implementing environmental literacy development across the state. Other resources available to us, networks. These are super important. We collaborate with the Federation of Missouri. They do advocacy. They've got the CLC, the Conservation Leadership Corps, the youth development work going on. We successfully lobbied and rallied around their adoption of a Green Schools resolution last year. So it's basically that lays the groundwork for that organization to advocate for environmental literacy if it becomes an issue with legs. And we're just making progress over time. NWEEE is a great network. Environmental literacy is literally their jam. So it's great to be part of them. We're one of their state affiliates, MEEA is, and the affiliate network is just really active and shares resources like crazy. So lots there. And then the U.S. Green Building Council, Emily and Deborah both work for the Missouri Gateway Green Building Council. And so they're tapped into, they're an affiliate, basically, technically, maybe not exactly that, but they're a part of the U.S. Green Building Council, which houses the Center for Green Schools. And they provide just tons of leadership on utilizing the built environment as a teaching resource and also improving it for the health and wellness of our kids. And then finally, the Plains Environmental Education Partnership. I've already mentioned that landscape analysis, but we've got a lot of rich data that can help us think about next steps. So yeah, networks are crucial. And then we have another resource available to us that's really important because people power is largely driven by funding for that people power. And our current opportunity that I've been looking at and that kind of led to this theme for this meeting is Ben and Jerry's funding. And it's a 2-year grant for $30,000 per year. It must use the project, whatever it was, must use grassroots collective action organizing campaigns as their primary strategy for creating social change. It needs to be constituent led and focused on organizing for systemic change. So I will propose what I think we ought to propose to Ben and Jerry's in just a second, but want to let you know we're also thinking about other sources of funding from around the state. But also, I know some states, the Oregon Environmental Literacy Plan they had regional coordinators and a state coordinator who I think the regional coordinators were housed within the extension, which is, that's a very creative way of dedicating some staff time for a specific thing. So I think we can think about that as we move forward too. It's not just about grants. There's lots of ways. So, dun dun dun, here's my proposal for y'all. I would like to apply for funding from Ben and Jerry's to develop and implement a new and improved Missouri Environmental Literacy Plan. And to do that, we would put together a task force of partner network members and partner network adjacent. I know that there's organizations like Conservation Federation of Missouri who don't really, their model of service doesn't really match up with them joining the partner network and then potentially a bunch of other groups that would ask them to join. So just know partner network members is a broad moniker there. Show Me Green Schools as well, our representatives from our participants, and MEEA's young environmental leaders to really work together to update that plan and make sure we're getting youth voice as a part of that. Those are the yellers are 16 through 26. And I would like to also provide advocacy training for the yellers because they would be central to the advocacy efforts for the implementation of the plan. And another kind of thing to think about is this plan, we can advocate at the state level for inclusion of environmental literacy in different ways in different agencies, but we can also advocate at the school board level for schools to adopt environmental literacy into their policies. So, um, and then I just wanted to show you, this is just a timeline that we could, just thinking about it over the next 4 years, what we could be doing. We could be working on the infrastructure. That's really going to be key to making this all happen. Like having an updated ELP is big. That would be largely the first year of work together if we were funded and you approve this this project. Um, then we would start working on finding folks and funding folks to coordinate this. Um, and then really thinking about ways that we can integrate environmental literacy with the Missouri Learning Standards. DESE's already doing a lot of really great things, and we could start even before our ELP was finished, thinking about how can we plug into what DESE's already doing and make it more place-based where needed, and help just really leverage what they're doing. And school-based stuff, we are well positioned to work on all of this because we have 125 or so schools. It's fluid, 125 to 130 schools already participating. And in a couple years' time, there will probably be some that would be very ripe for official adoption of environmental literacy into what their goals are. So, and then finally, there's just other pieces to the puzzle. Youth leadership and green careers are big. That community and family-based notion. That's not me as necessarily lane for this. I can think of several organizations who would be amazing leaders for that part of the project. And then the funding piece, definitely it's got to be ongoing. So just wanted to share that with you this is a really truncated version of a sample timeline that I developed kind of by what we've been doing and also looking at that Oregon timeline, which was really, really helpful. So, we have 8 minutes left, and I promise to get you out of here on time. So now, what I actually want to do is get some feedback from you all. And while we're taking the Zoom, I've got a Zoom poll for you. And while we're getting that set up, I want you to just feel free to unmute and during the poll, ask questions or offer reflections. But the poll is 3 questions. The first two are about this proposal specifically. It's basically kind of gauging your comfort level with us moving forward to on this idea and finding the support necessary to do it well. And then the third question is really kind of beyond the scope of that project, but just in general, where do you see yourself as having, energy or expertise, you or your organization to plug in? And I just want you to know before I launch the poll, I want you to know that this doesn't lock you in and you're not making a commitment. It's just really helping us guide what we put our limited time and energy into to bolstering. So keep that in mind. So the I just launched it. Can you all see it?
Yeah, you're good, Leslie. It came through.
Oh, good. Phew. So, without further ado, everybody said. Right. Y'all, it looks like 9 people voted. So I don't know what happened to everyone else, but out of the 9 votes, 100% said I consent. So that's awesome. I'm super excited about that. And I saw a lot of different all of the different options. Most of them had some folks weighing in, so I'm excited to look at those. But I am super thrilled, y'all. Like, we're gonna move forward. I take that as a sounds good. Let's try and get some funding and make this happen. I would love for our last 3 minutes to have me stop talking and give final reflections to the folks that have donated their time today. So, but I am like in.
There was a good conversation in the chat.
Oh,
Chris Noby, she mentioned Girl Scouts. They have several related patches, Eastern Missouri Girl Scouts, Girl Scouts of Missouri Heartland, etc. So there's a little bit of info back and forth
yes.
there. I want to
Awesome.
draw your attention. And specifically, Chris said that you mentioned Boy Scouts, but not Girl
Oh,
Scouts.
sorry. My bad. Tanya, did you want to say something? Oh, I think she just had to leave. Y'all are quiet. I love it. I can't wait to read all this stuff in the chat. I'm so excited. Thank you all. It sounds like nobody's dying to get off, but I'm just looking at you all because I know most of you, and there's people from all over the state here. We go from Northeast, Northwest, Southwest. Is anybody here from Southeast? We got Casey, we got St. Louis, we got Midmo. All right. Jean, did you want to say anything? Jean Ponzi? No? All right. Thank you all very, very much. Have an awesome day.